Hello, everyone. Um, we are going to get started soon. If you are joining our live question and answer session, you'll notice a link on the screen. Please use this link to ask your questions. As soon as questions start coming in, we will start answering them. We are not taking questions in the chat, so please use this specific link on the screen to ask your questions. There is no presentation. This is just an opportunity to ask questions in regards to incoming freshman course request.
Our first question is, if my student is planning for a hybrid schedule, how do we decide what courses are online? So when your student is in Aries and searching for their course, they need to find the course that has OC in the course number. So for English 9, the course would be titled English 9, and then you would see in parentheses OC 200. So OC stands for online course. So that's what they need to keep an eye out for if they're interested in taking one or more of their classes online. For those of you who just joined us, there is no presentation today. We are just answering questions. We will not be answering questions in the chat. So please post your questions on the Google form. The link is available on the screen. So make sure that you're submitting your questions via the Google form, and we're just going to take them in order in which they were received. Our next question is, since my son is being placed into Math 2 honors for 9th grade, will this guarantee access to pre-calculus in 10th grade and AP calculus by 11th grade if he earns an A? No, we never guarantee placement in any class. So we wouldn't even guarantee placement in Math 2 honors. We will guarantee that he'll have at least Math 2 and certainly try to get him into Math 2 honors, but it's not a guarantee. The next progression would not be pre-calculus in this situation. A student would go from Math 2 into Math 2 or Math 2 honors into Math 3 or Math 3 honors. So your student will have an opportunity to meet with a counselor and discuss a 4-year plan once they start at the high school. For now, it sounds like they're interested in Math 2 honors, so that's what they should have in their course request, and we can discuss our math sequence at a later time when your student starts here at the high school.
Our next question is, I'm an 8th grader currently enrolled in Math 1 with a grade of a B. Am I eligible to take Math 2 honors without completing the summer skipper? Yes, you are able to take Math 2 honors next school year. It is just a request, though. We don't guarantee any classes. If students receive a C in Math 1, then it's recommended they retake Math 1.
The next question is asking what A through G requirements mean. A through G is a sequence of classes required for UCs and CSUs. For example, category A is history, and there's a requirement for that. Category B is English, category C is math, so on and so forth. We have a ton of information on our website in regards to what A through G requirements mean and how there's a difference between high school graduation requirements and A through G. I'm going to go ahead and find that and link it in the chat.
The next question is regarding an approved language academy, and if that would suffice for graduation, if they take like a level 3. So if a student is taking a course from an approved language academy, we can add that to the high school transcript. And in order to graduate from Mountain House High School, you just need 1 year of a world language or 1 year of a visual and performing arts. However, if the student is trying to go to a 4-year college upon graduation from Mountain House High School, they need to ensure they do 2 years of a world language and 1 year of a visual and performing arts. And when we talk about 2 years of a world language, that really just means levels. So if your student has met a level 3 or 4 or 2 through their approved language academy, then they have met that requirement for the UC CSU system for admissions.
The next question is it recommended or mandatory to have alternatives for electives? So the alternates have to be in place for the electives. So it's mandatory that for electives, you have those alternate courses or alternative selections that you would want should you not get your primary request. So please put in those alternates, because if the alternates are not in there, we will choose for you. And if it works out, we will probably give a flex to a student that doesn't have alternates. So please make sure that alternates are in for electives. For electives that are pathway courses, such as the PLTW, Computer Science, Engineering, and Biomed, I would recommend putting at least 2 alternates for those courses. You can put up to 5 alternates in, so please make sure that you are putting as many as you can in so that we know where to put you should there be any conflicts with schedules.
Our next question is about math placement for the high school. If your student is currently in 8th grade math and is not planning to do the summer skipper, Math 1 is automatically added to your student's schedule. So you do not need to add a math course to your student's schedule. But if your student is currently taking Math 1 in middle school, counselors will have to manually add Math 2. So you could send your counselor an email. You could find who's in charge of your student's caseload by using the Mountain House High School website under counseling. It'll tell you who your student's counselor is, but you could send your counselor an email and ask them to place your student in either Math 2 or Math 2 Honors.
Our next question is, if a student wants to take biomed as a pathway, should they put an alternate pathway or elective? So for biomed, it's replacing their biology course. So if they don't get biomed, I recommend that they put either biology or biology honors as their alternate. Our next question is circling back to the online courses. So I'm going to read the question, but I don't fully understand it. So for this person asking this question, it might be best for you to come to the curriculum fair on Thursday, January 22nd. So you can ask this question in person, because I'm not really understanding what you're trying to ask, but I'm going to attempt to answer it. So the question says, the earlier question about online course selection is not about differentiating between OC or not. It's on what criteria we decide whether students should attend in person or online. Are both the same? So if you're asking if they take OC English 9 or English 9 in person, are those the same course? Yes, they both fulfill English credit. One is just offered online and one is just offered in person. So your student needs to decide, do they want to take their class online through Edgenuity, or do they want to have an in-person class? If that is not what you meant by this question, please see us at Curriculum Fair so we can answer your question in person.
Our next question is, if students take engineering as his pathway in 9th grade, will he still be able to move on to computer science later? Yeah, so if your student is in the engineering pathway, 9th grade year, and really decides they don't like it, they don't want to continue with the engineering pathway, they could absolutely drop the pathway and start a new pathway their 10th grade year.
We have another question, and I hope I understand this correctly. It says, are there in-person classes for computer science? So we do have a computer science pathway, and those classes are all in person. So I hope that is what you are asking. Our computer science classes, our computer science pathway courses, those are all in-person classes.
The next question is asking if there are any other summer opportunities outside of the Math 1 Skippers course. There are not any other opportunities for high school freshmen, incoming freshmen coming in over the summer except the Math 1 Skipper course. Once they are a student at Mountain House High School, there will be other opportunities for them to take courses starting the fall.
The next question is sort of about choosing courses and what courses are mandatory, I'm thinking. I will read the question and then hopefully I'm answering it correctly as well. World language slash visual arts is a mandatory period for freshmen like PE. And one of the PLTW should be primary elective and alternates can be other courses. Is this understanding correct? So, world language and visual arts. That's not necessarily a mandatory period for freshmen. PE is something that's already in their request because that is going to be something that our freshmen take. So whether they take world language and visual arts their freshman year, sophomore, junior, senior, they can do it any of the years. The requirements kind of vary as to what the student's goal is, whether they're doing community college or going to a four-year institution after high school. As for the end, the PLTW course can be a primary elective, but definitely select the alternates for any electives.
Our next question is, can I take my language during summer, either in Delta or some other course to open up spots? Will it affect me when applying to college? So to be honest, we don't really recommend taking world language outside of Mountain House High School unless you are doing it through one of our principal certified language academies. However, it is possible. Please review the non-MHHS course policies on our website. I'm going to post it into the chat. Everything you need to know about taking a class outside of Mountain House High School is listed on there. So you need to read through all that information. It's not something you can start over the summer between 8th and 9th grade year. So there's nothing for you to do right now. It's a conversation you can have with your counselor once you start in August. But again, we don't necessarily recommend taking world language outside of Mountain House High School unless it's one of the principal certified language academies, but it is possible. So in just a minute, I will post the non-MHHS link to the screen. Please review all the information on that page. Our next question is, can all 3 honors be chosen? Also, if my son is doing good with Math 2 honors in 9th grade, why is he not encouraged to advance over the next grades? As I heard one similar question and they cannot advance. So kind of 2 questions here. Can all 3 honors classes be chosen? So if you're talking about like choosing Math 2 honors, biology honors, and English 9 honors, yes, they can choose to take those 3 honors courses. We don't limit the amount of honors or AP courses that a student signs up for. However, our recommendation is that they shouldn't take more than 2. And that comes from promoting balance in their life. It gives them opportunities to do extracurriculars outside of school and be involved in other things. You know, if you're interested in being 4-year eligible and applying to colleges, it's much more than just taking honors class. They want well-rounded students. As far as why do we not allow math advancement in other grades, it's not something we offer here at Mountain House High School. In the past, it was available to students, but students were not successful doing that. We found it was more of a hindrance to students than helpful. Your student, in this case, is starting in Math 2 honors. So they're going to be able to complete basically all our math by going on to Math 3 honors in 10th grade, AP Calculus in 11th grade, and then AP Calculus BC in 12th grade, and can double up and take AP Stats. So in this case, your child is going to complete all the math at Mountain House that we offer because they're starting in Math 2 Honors in 9th grade. So there is no need to advance any further because they're already advanced.
The next question we have is about the math again. So if your student is in the 8th grade math right now and not in Math 1 that's accelerated, they're not eligible for Math 2 or Math 2 Honors. So if you are in 8th grade and you're in the 8th grade math, your student's in that 8th grade math, the only way that they can go to Math 2 or Math 2 Honors is if they do our Summer Skipper Math 1 course. But that's really the only way that they would be able to advance if they are in the 8th grade math currently.
The next question is about alternates, and is there a specific order? When it comes to alternates, the student has the ability to sort those alternates based off of their preference. If they don't get their first choice, they could organize that by like, what class would you like next? And if you don't get that class, then what class would you like after that? So it should definitely be sorted by the student's preference. So they do have that ability.
Our next question is, are there any AP classes available for freshmen? The answer to that is no. No freshmen are allowed to take AP classes, and we do not offer any AP classes that are open to freshmen. Your student will be able to take AP classes their 10th grade year. I will include the anticipated course list in the Mountain House High School from the Mountain House High School website in the chat. You can find a list of our courses, which will also include the grade level that students can take each course. And our next question is, if we select computer science as an elective, does that mean we are signing up for a 4-year pathway and are locked in? No, you could change your pathway. You could drop your pathway. Pathways are not required for high school graduation or for 4-year eligibility. So I don't think that you're locked in if you sign up for a pathway.
The next question asks, if a student is planning on taking biomed as their main pathway, can they take another PLTW pathway as an alternate? Yes. So if you want to put principles of biomed as your primary request and then put in computer science or engineering as your alternate, that is possible. However, I would recommend that if that is what you're doing, if you're putting biomed and then computer science, that there should be more alternates, because both of those pathways are competitive. So I would add a 3rd or 4th alternate to that same request to ensure that your student at least gets their top 3 or 4 choice course.
We have another question about how Mountain House High School prioritizes students. So the system will randomize schedules and generate schedules that way, but it does prioritize 12th graders first, because we have to get those kids into those specific classes to make sure that they're all on track to graduate. So it does prioritize 12th and then 11th and then 10th and then 9th. But all schedules after that are pretty much generalized when making those schedules for all students.
The next question is asking the difference between AP and early college. So AP are advanced placement courses only taught at high schools. Early college courses are taught at Delta College or through Delta College, and they're college level courses. There will be a lot more information coming in regards to early college. Early college has its own informative session coming up soon. In the next few weeks, you should be receiving an email in regards to early college, the informative presentation, and how to enroll, and all of the information, all of the details in regards to early college.
The next question that we have is, what are mandatory courses for every student for the incoming 9th grade? So for 9th grade, they're going to have their 9th grade English course. They're going to have something called Global Studies. That's going to be paired with health. So one semester would be Global Studies and one semester would be health. And then they're going to have their math course, and then they will need their life science course. and their PE course. So those are the courses that would be mandatory.
Our next question is, do we select bio as an alternate to bio honors? And same thing for English. Do we need alternates for mandatory classes? No. So if you put in bio honors and we cannot give you bio honors, you're automatically going to be put in biology because it is a requirement. Same thing for English. If you chose English 9 honors and we cannot give you English 9 honors, we're automatically going to give you English 9. So you don't need to put the alternate for those courses. The only thing you need an alternate for is the elective classes. So that would include like pathways, world language, art, yearbook, band, leadership. Those types of courses need an alternate, and you can apply more than one alternate. Our next question is, my daughter will be joining freshman this year. She's doing German language currently. Can she continue it in an approved outside organization? So I answered this question slightly earlier. We don't really recommend that students take world language outside of Mountain House High School unless it is with our approved language academies. Things get complicated when it comes to applying to colleges, which is why we don't recommend it. However, it may be possible. So I would recommend that for this particular student, you don't enroll in a world language during freshman year and have a conversation with your counselor about how you could maybe go about doing that. But again, we don't really recommend it. So I am going to post on the chat again about the non-MHHS course policies. So you should review this page because it'll give you more information about what that looks like.
The next question is asking about students that have gone to our high school. Have we seen patterns about getting into specifically like CS programs at like top-notch schools? So essentially, when colleges are admitting students, there is a ton of factors that they are considering when they are choosing their students. So obviously, you want to ensure that your student has the best grades possible. And then selecting, the courses that make the most sense to them. But we've had students get into top-notch schools and take band or, choir all 4 years. So there's not a specific elective that they should be choosing. They need to pursue their passions and ensure that they're getting really strong grades. But keep in mind, there are many factors. There's the application itself that will be heavily looked at, as well as teacher recommendation letters, community involvement. So there's a ton of factors that schools are looking for when they're making those admissions decisions. And we'll talk a lot more about this when your students are at the high school. We will have a ton of college prep information and college nights that your students will be invited to, so we can provide more details about that.
The next question is, if we do a language outside of the MHHS through a certified institution and take a placement test and move to level 3 during the first year of enrollment itself, will we get the credit for levels 1 and 2? So for the principal certified language academies that we have, really pay attention to those academies. Make sure that you're doing the language through those academies. If you have done some sort of test and you move to level 3, that we would articulate the level 3, because that would pretty much be what would be on your transcript that would be sent to us, is that level 3. That level 3 is good enough for the A to G requirements, because you only need through level 2. So if that level 3 is the only thing on your transcript from that language academy, that's what we will be putting on our transcript.
The next question is asking, can students choose 2 pathways in 9th grade, like engineering and biomed, since it's too early for them to choose paths? So unfortunately not. Students are only able to request one PLTW pathway, like engineering, computer science, and biomed. However, if they wanted to do computer science and digital arts or engineering and business, that's always an option, just not 2 of the PLTW pathways, which are computer science, engineering, and biomed.
Our next question is, are regular math students eligible for Math 2 or Math 2 honors without doing the Math Summer Skipper? If your student is currently enrolled in 8th grade math, they will need to do the Summer Skipper in order to take Math 2 or Math 2 honors. If your student is currently enrolled in Math 1, then they do not need to do the Summer Skipper in order to enroll in Math 2 or Math 2 honors.
The next question is asking, my daughter is currently doing Algebra 1 in her 8th grade in out-of-state school. So if your student is not currently a Mountain House High School or a Lammersville student, then it's hard for me to address this question. Once your student does enroll for high school at Lammersville Unified School District, then we will have an enrollment, like a virtual meeting maybe, or there will be a Google form that she'll complete, and we will look at her transcript at that time to determine what math class she will be enrolled in. However, if your student is currently a Mountain House High School student but is taking an outside math course, we are not considering those.
The next question we have, it says, my daughter wants to choose biomed pathway. Can she still do biology honors as an elective? So students are going to have to choose between the biomed and the biology or biology honors, because we won't be giving them both of those, because both of them count as the life science credit. So students have to choose. If they want to be in the biomed pathway, they can choose that and they won't choose biology. If the student's not interested in the biomed pathway, they can choose biology or biology honors. The next question is it possible to have a one-on-one session with counselors? So right now we don't have the capacity to have one-on-one sessions with 8th grade students. We went to the classrooms today. We'll be going back to their classrooms at the end of this month. So we will be able to help in that aspect, but we just don't have the resources here at the high school to be able to meet with all of our 8th grade students and parents one-on-one. So please make sure that your students have all their questions answered and have their questions ready for us when we go to their classrooms at the end of the month, if there's any questions that they have left.
The next question is a follow-up for a Math 2 honors question. If a student is not currently doing well in their Math 1 in 8th grade, can they still select Math 2 honors? I would actually suggest that if your student is not doing well in their current Math 1 class in 8th grade, that they continue to take Math 1 here as a freshman so that they really learn the foundations of Math 1, and so that they're successful in Math 2 or Math 2 honors. However, if they have a passing grade, maybe a B or a C, or anything below a C, I would actually recommend that they take Math 1 here again. However, if they do have a C, I would recommend Math 2, not Math 2 honors.
Our next question is, in terms of extracurricular activities or clubs, how can a student select those? What is the time frame to join cross country? Will there be tryouts before August 2026? I'm going to address clubs first. For clubs, students can view our club list on the website already to kind of get an idea of what we offer here. At the end of August, there will be a club fair during Success and Lunch that all students will get to attend. Our clubs set up in the quad, and students can go from table to table to learn about the clubs and register for the clubs that they're interested in. In terms of extracurricular activities, so in this case, they were asking about cross country. I would encourage you to go to the athletic page on the website, and I'll link it here in just a minute. I'm not sure when the tryouts for cross country happen, but what you can do is email Renee Nunn, Mrs. Nunn, who is our athletic director, and she can give you more information about what a student needs in order to participate in sports, and also what the schedule is going to look like in regards to tryouts. So I will post Mrs. Nunn's email, and I will also post the link to the athletics page because there's a lot of information on there as well. Our next question is, my child is interested in the biomed pathway with computer science as an alternate. Should computer science be listed under the elective category or under life science? So don't worry about how it's being categorized. You can attach computer science to biomed. That's okay.
Okay, so the next question is, can world language be chosen in the elective category? And yes, you can choose world language as one of your additional courses. And then can you use the flex for a pathway? Yes. So where they see a student can always try to sign up for 7 classes. We could just only guarantee 6. A standard schedule is 6 classes with a flex period. But if a student doesn't want the flex period, they could definitely try to sign up for an additional course. And another question is, are Delta enrollment courses weighted on the transcript? And the answer is yes, they do have a weight similar to that of an honors or AP course.
The next question is, my son is studying Telugu as a foreign language. His course will be completed in 9th grade. Will he receive credits for this year as well? We will accept credits if they're taking that in 8th grade and it's from the principal certified language academies that are on our website. We can articulate that onto our transcript.
The next question is, my child is selecting computer science as his primary pathway. If he is not given that pathway, will he be able to do AP computer science in his junior year or senior year? So if students start the computer science pathway in 10th grade, then they will take 2 AP computer science courses concurrently in 11th grade.
Someone was just asking in the next question for more clarification on the alternates. Essentially what the alternates are, and you could organize those and sort those by your preference. So essentially, let's say your student, they primarily would like to take culinary as their elective, but let's say they get bumped out of culinary. The counselor can then look down at that alternate list and see what class you would like next. So if the top class on that alternate list is Art 1, the counselor will try to put them in Art 1. If we can't make Art 1 work, we're going to go down the list and we'll see what class they have listed under Art 1. So that is essentially how you're going to organize that list. Make sure that first alternate is the class you want in the case that you don't get your first primary choice, and just organize it by your preference.
Our next question is, when will the interest form for Math 1 Summer Skipper be open? So the interest form is actually already was sent out through email. If the form is not working, make sure you're logging into Aries and filling out the form through Aries. That's the only way it'll open. And our next question is, can my student take engineering, orchestra, and world language in freshman year? The answer to that is unfortunately no. Students are only allowed 7 classes, and 5 of those classes are those 5 core classes. Your student will only be able to take 2 additional elective courses.
As a reminder, we're not answering questions that come through the chat, so please use the link on your screen to submit questions, or you can scan the QR code. Our next question is, in Aries, art is separate from elective, so is art language considered an elective? Don't be too concerned about how it is being categorized. Your child needs to make sure they have 7 classes selected in Aries. 5 of those are going to be the core, and then they have 2 opportunities to select elective. Students need at least 1 year of an art or language to graduate from high school. So in the first year, if they're taking Art 1, it is going to fulfill that 10 credit requirement for art and language. If they take additional years of art and language in a future year, then it's going to fulfill the elective category. But really, what you just need to make sure you're paying attention to is that you're selecting 7 courses in Aries. As long as the student is passing 6 classes a year, they're going to earn enough credit, including elective credit, in order to graduate. We also evaluate transcripts every single year to make sure that students are on track for graduation and are on track for 4-year eligibility if that's what they want. So don't be too concerned about filling the categories. We're going to ensure that that happens. Just make sure they have 7 courses selected.
The next question is asking about how if an art or language course is considered an elective. So all of our classes, whether it's art, visual art, performing art, culinary, business, engineering, computer science, biomed, they're all considered electives. Everything outside of core classes is considered an elective course. So hopefully that answers that question.
Our next question is regarding science. It says, my daughter will be studying biology in 9th grade, chemistry and physics in 10th and 11th. Is that correct? And then it asks, will biology only be available in 9th grade? So all freshmen have to take a life science course. Life science can either be biology honors, or that principles of biomed course. So again, all 9th graders have to take a life science. Also, 2 years of physical science is also required for high school graduation. So chemistry is a physical science and physics is a physical science. So 10th grade year, your student will also be taking a physical science and also in 11th grade year. And then will biology only be available in 9th grade? So regular biology will only be biology or biology honors will only be available in 9th grade year. However, we do offer a AP biology course that students can take in 11th or 12th grade. And the prerequisites to take AP biology is completion of biology or principles of biomed and chemistry, and pass them all with B's or higher.
The next question is students that are choosing biomed, if they could have other pathways or alternates selected. So when you are choosing biomed, your alternate that should be associated with that should be bio or bio honors. They could still have other classes in the alternates list, but they should only be associating a science class with biomed. And then we have other questions regarding biomed. If they do biomed, can they take other electives? And yes, if they're choosing biomed, they will still have opportunities in their schedule to take on like cooking or art classes. That would be completely fine.
Our next question is, so I'm wondering if you guys did a typo in this. So I'm going to try and understand it. If I don't answer it how you were hoping it to be answered, please resubmit your question. It says, if my son starts in the engineering pathway in 9th grade, what exactly guarantees that he will be able to reach AP Computer Science A by 11th grade? This is where I'm confused because you started your question with engineering pathway, but then went in asking about AP Computer Science. The engineering pathway does not have AP Computer Science listed in it. AP Computer Science A is part of the computer science pathway. So making the assumption that you actually meant to say computer science pathway, we don't guarantee placement in any elective course in any given year. However, let's say your student is enrolled in Computer Science Essentials as a 9th grader. That is the first level in the computer science pathway. They will reach AP Computer Science A by 11th grade. Now, it's possible your student may select AP Computer Science A and maybe AP Biology, and they're both only offered in the same period, and it's only going to give them one. So your child may have to make a decision at that time what class is most important to them. If the AP Computer Science A class is the most important to them, yes, we should be able to get them a spot because in this case, they would have already been part of the computer science pathway. So that's kind of the only issue. It's not necessarily going to get full. It just may conflict with another class that they may choose. So then they have to make the decision at that time which class is going to be most important to them. If your student is interested in computer science in college, they should be choosing the computer science class, and then we can make alterations to whatever else they selected at that time.
The next question is, can I select 2 electives in a flex period? So with the 2 electives and flex period, the 9th grade students don't have enough space for that. So they can choose either 2 electives or 1 elective and a flex period. Just make sure they have alternate courses listed for any electives that they choose. And then the next question is referring to the anticipated course list that we have. What is NCAA is the first part, and then why is some courses marked as yes, not honors, and A to G requirements. So NCAA is for approved courses through that program where if your student is going to play college level sports, at a Division I or Division II school, they need to meet a NCAA requirements. So if that is your student and they plan on playing those college level sports where they're going to, like I said, Division I or Division II school, they need to meet those school requirements, and then they also need to meet the NCAA requirements. So they will need to come see us after they start here in 9th grade so that we can kind of map that out for them and let them know like what is approved through NCAA and what is not. And then for the A to G college prep section, a lot of them are the yeses, and it will show you what area through A to G it is. When you see something that says yes, area B, not honors, that means that it is an honors course with us, but for A to G GPA purposes, it is not considered an honors course for that calculation.
Our next question is, my daughter is enrolling in face-to-face or in-person classes during 9th grade. If she wants to change to hybrid in 10th grade, is that possible? Yes. So each year, your student is going to have an opportunity to request a new set of classes. So in 9th grade, if they want to take all of their classes in person, sure, they can absolutely do that. And then in 10th grade, if they want to try 1 or more online classes, that's an opportunity. This time next year, your student will be selecting classes for 10th grade. So at that time, if they want to take an online class in 10th grade, they would just add it to their course request in Aries. Our next question is, do they need to be in the CS pathway to complete AP Computer Science Principles, AP Security, or networking? Yes, all of these classes are part of the computer science pathway. So if your student is interested in those courses, they need to start in the first level. So they would be selecting CS Essentials in their course request in Aries. CS Essentials is going to be the first level in the computer science pathway, which would then make them eligible for future computer science classes.
We have a couple of questions coming in about are classes guaranteed? Does a student get a guarantee into a PLTW class? And the answer is no. We cannot guarantee any courses. We cannot guarantee any students into our pathway classes. So if your student does not get into one of their preferred courses or their preferred pathway, that is why they need to enter alternates. The counselor will look at those alternates in the case that a student gets bumped out of their primary course request. So alternates are extremely important as we do not guarantee any classes, especially those PLTW courses. And the last question on here is, or on this particular entry is, are the business pathway enrollment required for DECA? Business pathway, you are eligible to take DECA within the business pathway. But whether or not it's required, that I don't know if it's required. Another counselor might be able to better answer that, but only business students are eligible for that particular club.
It is not required to do DECA if you are in the business pathway.
Our next question is, can you please explain how the credit system works for courses? So Mountain House High School is broken up into 2 semesters, with the first semester ending in December and the second semester ending in May. Students will receive 5 credits per semester for each class, 10 credits for the full year. Then the next component to that question is, what if a student misses a mandatory class? Can the course be repeated? So counselors, we do a pretty good job of making sure students are in all the courses that are required for graduation. If a student misses a class by chance, they will absolutely have the opportunity to repeat that course.
Okay, the next question is, I chose Principles of Biomedical Honors for my pathway. I know that I can't select biology, so I put it as an alternative for ceramics. Can you put a science course as an art? If you can, I neither get biomed or ceramics and my alternative bio honors get selected. Am I forced to choose an art next year because my art didn't get selected and I need art credits? So if you're selecting biomedical pathway, your alternative should be a biology class. It should be biology or biology honors. And then what if I put 2 alternatives, first priority bio honors and second digital arts, and considering that I didn't get biomed, will the school replace my life science category for bio honors instead of selecting biology and select my art as digital arts, considering that I also don't get ceramics? I'm kind of confused by the question. So if you want biomed, you're going to use the alternative. You're going to choose either biology or biology honors. And then if you want an art, you're going to select an art and you can replace it with another art or another elective. And then the next question is, I have put Principles of Biomed for pathway in all 3 alternatives. I think that this seems like it's from a student. So I think that you should talk to a counselor once we come back to your school, because it seems like you have a lot of additional questions. Counselors, I don't know if you have anything else to input.
The next question is asking how GPA counts when it comes to an honors class versus a regular class. The regular class is on a 4-point scale. The honors class is on a 5-point scale. That means an A in an honors class is worth 5 points, whereas an A in a regular class is worth 4 points.
The next question we have is, my daughter is taking German is the world language during her 6th, 7th, and 8th grade in Massachusetts. We are relocating to Mountain House for her 9th grade. We hope that we are able to convince the counselor for letting her continue her interest in German language and continue to take German outside the school and eventually do AP German. So in this situation, we don't offer German, so your student would be able to take that elsewhere. We would put that on our transcript so long that she hasn't completed any language requirement with us. You guys would just, as a family, have to work with whatever institution she's going to go to take the German class and decide how many levels of German is meeting those A to G requirements, because we won't look into other institutions' coursework to say, hey, this is how much you need to complete that German class to meet A to G requirements. So the requirement wise, we're not going to check on that German course. So that's going to be something important, that when students don't take language here with us at Mountain House High School, they make sure that that specific language course that's not with us is meeting those A to G requirements. The next question is, if a student selects biomed but is not offered that option, are they still eligible to enter bio honors? So if your student is selecting biomed, definitely put bio honors for that alternate for that biomed class. And then another pathway question If a student gets a pathway in 9th grade, can we change the pathway in 10th grade? Yes. So you're not bound to staying within one pathway. They are elective classes. So they can change that pathway if they end up not liking it.
Our next question is, my daughter is enrolled into a approved principal certified language academy. If she completes the language class, does she need to enroll in world language? No, not unless she wants to take Spanish, French, or Chinese. But as far as meeting the world language requirement for graduation and for a year eligibility, as long as she completes through level 2, she's going to meet that. So just make sure that her transcripts get submitted to her high school counselor so we can ensure that the appropriate credit is added to the high school transcript. Our next question is, I want to be in advanced orchestra in 9th grade. However, auditions have not occurred yet. How do I select this? So for now, you're just going to put in beginning orchestra into your course request. Orchestra students or band students, choir students are going to be contacted at a later time to submit. I think last year they did video recordings. It could be different this year, but you'll be asked to submit something or, do an audition of some kind. If your teacher determines that you are ready for a more advanced level of orchestra, choir, band, whatever it may be, they're going to inform the counselor and we will make the change to your schedule. So for now, just add beginning orchestra and then you'll be contacted at a later time. Next question is, I heard world language, Spanish 1, 2, and 3 must be completed by end of high school. My son wants to take band as an elective. So does he need to select world language as the second elective? No. So your student has the opportunity to take up to 2 electives in 9th grade year. So if they want to take band and Spanish, they can absolutely do that. Students are required to complete 1 year of world language or art to graduate from high school. So band would fulfill that requirement or Spanish would fulfill that requirement. If your student is interested in applying to 4-year colleges, they are required to have 2 years of world language. So in this case, it would be Spanish 1 and Spanish 2, and at least 1 year of a visual or performing art. So in this case, it would be band. Spanish 3 is recommended, or level 3 of world language is recommended for UC campuses. So if your student has a goal to attend a UC campus after high school, it is recommended for him to take that 3rd year of Spanish, but he can start that in 10th grade year. So, and maybe there's another elective outside of Spanish he wants to take freshman year. Yeah, he can do that. And he can take Spanish 1 in 10th grade, Spanish 2 in 11th, and Spanish 3 in 12th.
The next question is asking, for students who start in engineering and later decide on computer science, what in your system ensures they should make sure to... I think the question is asking if students start in engineering and then in the next year decide they want to switch to computer science. That's possible. So in their sophomore year, they'll start computer science and they could still complete the pathway. We do have a pathway mapping that I'll share in the chat that will show you, if you start in 10th grade, how you can break up the courses so that you're able to complete the pathway.
The next question is regarding the next 2 questions is regarding our non-MHHS courses. So the question is Hindi a language offered at the high school? So we don't offer that at our high school. However, if you were to go to our high school website under counseling and then non-MHHS courses, we have that non-MHHS course page that will show you all of the information for how to sign up for non-MHHS courses, and what you need to do, what you can take and when. Hindi is also on the list below those instructions as one of our principal certified language academies. So your student would be able to go to one of those principal certified academies. Just make sure it is the Hindi one that is in that list, because that's the one that is approved. So that's how we would offer it. It's just not necessarily through Mountain House High School. The next question is, how can a student enroll for a Delta course work in summer before the start of high school? I see the course World History. The course has to be completed by December of ninth grade year. How can this be possible? Are they supposed to take a semester level course in Delta for completing History 2B? Okay, so no students are allowed. So eighth graders, they have to wait until they start ninth grade to take the Delta courses, the non-MHHS courses. So eighth grade students cannot do any of those courses in between 8th and 9th grade for that summer. So what happens is they will, in the fall of their 9th grade, there's going to be, like I said, on that non-MHHS course page, there's a list of steps that they need to go through. So when they get here, they start 9th grade, they're going to have to go on that web page, and then they're going to go through the steps. That's applying to Delta. There's going to be a form that parents and us need to fill out, but we cannot do that until they start 9th grade. The course is a semester course, but it is, so like in college, that full year course is just done in that fall semester. So the course will end in December. And for World History, that History 2B, that's the only opportunity for 9th grade to take that, to get it put on our transcript, is that fall semester.
All right, so we only have a couple minutes left. We do have a couple of questions. So good news is it looks like we addressed most of your questions for today. So I'm going to take a couple minutes to answer these last couple of questions, and then we are going to be done for the day. Remember, there's another opportunity at Curriculum Fair to come ask counselors questions. We will be present from 5 to 7 at Curriculum Fair. More information will go out at a later time. Our next question is, when does Math 1 Summer Skipper start? Is it possible to complete it in 1 month or 2 months? So we don't have a start date for Math 1 Summer Skipper yet, but in the past, the district has allowed students to start in March. If you only have 1 month or 2 months to complete the course, I do not recommend taking it. If you are not going to be around for the summer, you should start in Math 1 or potentially change your summer plan so you can complete this course if it's important to you. This is a full year long course. So expecting to do it in 1 month, even if you do, I'm really going to question if you actually learned the content in order to be prepared for Math 2 or Math 2 honors. A very common pattern we see is students rush to finish that course so they can still attend their summer plans, and then they really struggle in Math 2 or Math 2 honors. So a lot of times they fail it completely, or they earn like a D or a C and they're not happy with that grade. So if you don't have the appropriate amount of time to dedicate to the Math 1 Summer Skipper class, you should be taking Math 1 in 9th grade year. We had a question that's asking us to explain our entire credit system, including all 230 credits. That's not something we can do in this format. Just know that we are going to ensure that your student is taking the required courses that they need in order to stay on track for graduation and to be on track for four-year eligibility. Every year, we check every single student to ensure that this is what is happening. So if your student ever deviates from being on track for graduation or deviates from being on track for four-year eligibility, we always contact the student and the parent and say, hey, you need to take blank course in order to be on track for graduation or in order to be on track for four-year eligibility. If you have, want to talk with a counselor about a four-year plan, that's going to be an option for you or your student when you start with us in August. So that's a meeting that you can request. But yeah, we can't really explain the entire transcript breakdown right now. It's not something we have time for. If my child is not given computer science pathway in his freshman year, but it's given in 10th grade, will he be able to finish it in 3 years? Yes, all of our pathways are designed that if you do not get it in 9th grade year, you can start it in 10th grade year and still have time to finish the full pathway. So for some pathways, that means one of the classes has been cut out So they would only need to complete 3 of the courses to be considered a pathway completer. For some of the pathways, they do need to double up. So they would be taking 2 of the courses in 1 year. And yes, that would be more work. So that could be a challenge. Keep in mind that, not every 9th grader is going to receive the pathway that they selected. Unfortunately, we have a very large student population and we just cannot accommodate everybody's first choice. We will, in 10th grade, students get priority in those pathway classes. So if it doesn't happen in 9th grade year, it's going to be a good chance that it happens in 10th grade year. But yes, it might require them to double up in 2 of the classes.
Our next question is in regards to pathway courses. So please explain the professional pathway courses. Is there any documentation that can be referred? Please suggest. I would recommend that everyone go visit our school website. We have a course catalog on our website. You can either search it at the top or you can go to the counseling page. Go check that out. There's course descriptions in it, and you can find out all about the courses in those descriptions. We're also going to have curriculum fair, I believe, on the 22nd. So please come to that if you have questions about specific courses. Teachers will be able to help you out more with that. And last question here, is guitar a part of the band? Guitar is a separate class from band.
All right, that is all we have time for today. Thank you guys for joining us. We will be visiting the 8th grade sites at the end of the month before course request is due. Please make sure your students have it entered in Aries by the time we come back to their class at the end of the month, because then we're able to check it to make sure that they did it correctly, but we'll also be present to answer any follow-up questions that maybe they did not get answered. Curriculum fair is January 22nd from 6 to 8 p.m. More information will be sent out about where counselors will be during that time if you have additional counselor questions.